Hey everybody, welcome to Muscular Development's preview of the Arnold Sports Festival UK, the Arnold Classic UK. And if we're in the UK, this is the man you have to talk to, Giles Tiger Thomas, all the way over in the United Kingdom. Welcome, Giles, and condolences. We're doing this on a Monday morning, and this is the Queen's funeral all day. Very, very big, important affair, and still going on as we speak, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I've been watching it since 8:30 this morning.
Wow.
And I turned the TV back on a few minutes ago and it's still going. And you know what? It's actually, I was absolutely glued and transfixed. And it's just one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. Did you watch any of it?
No. I did hear U.S. President Joe Biden is there.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah.
Nice of him to show his respects. And you guys can keep him if you want, we don't really need him back. Just saying, we'll find somebody else. But let's get down to it. So Sunday is when the pro show is all going down. And this is at the NEC Birmingham, which you and I attended the Body Power Expo a million years ago. I think it was 2010. It's the same building, same venue, right?
Yes. NEC. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you came in 2010, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fun trip, wasn't it?
So it was a fun 3 days. We packed a lot into those 3 days.
Yeah.
As we're doing this, guys, we do not have an official list yet, but we do know most of the big names going in. That's what we're going to go with. We might find out later in the week that other people are entering that we were not aware of. So I apologize in advance for any of you athletes who are competing that we don't know about. I certainly would have talked about you if I'd known you were in the show. Right, Charles? We always do that.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
So let's start with the open. This is the big class. I'll just let you guys know this logistics. This is all happening Sunday. They're having amateur events, bodybuilding events on Saturday. They have strongmen. They have all kinds of things. But Sunday, it's going to happen at 9 a.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. No, I'm doing the US time. 2 p.m. UK Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern in the United States. Finals are going to be 7 p.m. UK. That is 2 p.m. East Coast. So I need to know when I'm going to be watching. So let's start with right off the top, the UK's own James Hollingshead, definitely one of the favorites going in. He has not competed all year. We haven't seen him since, I believe it was last year's Olympia. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
He had won the European Pro. He's won a few shows now, and he's been putting a ton of size on. I believe he still works with Patrick Tour, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about James, because I think he's definitely one of my favorites. He's got all kinds of size. Really, to me, doesn't have any weak body parts. For a white guy, he has kind of round muscles. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry, white guys. And I think looking at this list, we have some big names, but James is on my front runners. He's definitely going to be in first call out, and I would not be surprised if James Hollingshead ends up winning this.
I think he'll be top three. I think he'll be top three. But I mean, things with James, it's quite difficult sometimes to gauge how he looks from his Instagram, because sometimes it doesn't translate to the stage, and sometimes he might look better. So I don't see huge amounts of improvements. But the thing is, he already was huge, thick, dense, and like I said, he qualified in 2020 by winning the Spain show for the following Olympia in 2021. Right. He only did the Olympia, did 12th, and hasn't competed since. So, I mean, I don't think I've seen him on stage as a pro yet, personally. Oh. I wasn't at the British Grand Prix in 2020, which he won. Yep. When he beat Regan there. He beat Regan Grimes, Mark Hector, Samson. He beat everyone there. I don't know. I can't tell how I feel about where he's going to place, but because I've got my top two quite clear in my mind, and actually James is not in that top two.
Yeah, I've never seen the best James in person. I've seen him a few times, but when he won that Europe show, I was watching it on pay-per-view and looking at photos. I thought he looked phenomenal there, really big and full and crisp. Olympia, something happened, and I'd seen him before, but when he was, a smaller version of the same guy. So yeah. I mean, I hope, we'll see if he wins this, he gets his qualification for the Olympia, and hopefully brings his best to the Olympia. Because,
but if he wins this, then that's taken another huge step up, because that means he's beating guys like Martin Fitzwater and Andrew Jack. And Andrew Jack really is the new flavor of the month. That's the one everyone's talking about. So if he can manage to beat Andrew Jack, who I'm assuming from what George Farah said will be better than Texas. Because remember, he made a big deal about saying, oh, he only did half a prep like he did when he turned pro at the Amateur Arnold, which annoys me. I don't like it. I don't like it when they do that. And like I said on the forum, and I've argued with people, it really pissed me off that, because I think, you know, you don't apologize for why your athlete doesn't look good when they've won as good as they could. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I mean, I hear exactly what you're saying, but I know all along their target was the Arnold UK, because that invitation was, we knew that back in, I think, February or March, that he was going to be in that show, or this show coming up. So he has had 6 full weeks between his win in Texas to here. Wow, that was 6 weeks.
So he has to look better. Otherwise, it's going to look bad for him. Because if you think about it, he's only done the Arnold Classic Amateur and he's only done Texas. And in both shows, he was not in top condition. Right. But there was excuses made saying, oh, it was a last minute thing. He did half a prep. So, but the thing is, at the time, you don't realize that the next show you do, then that places a huge expectation and a lot of pressure. So I'm fully expecting and hoping that Andrew Jacked comes in much, much sharper than he did at the Texas. Because at the Texas, I actually had him 4th or 5th. Because you know me, I had him 4th or 5th. I mean, I wasn't there, you know, you were. But at the end of the day, I like condition and I like detail. I think he's absolutely fantastic, by the way. So I'm not dissing the guy. Right. I think he's absolutely incredible. I think he's high. I love the fact he's tall. I love his structure. I love his frontal bicep is a showstopper. I think he's going to be one of the best pros in the world, you know, very, very soon. If it's not this year, or it'll be certainly next year or the year after, he's going to be a top guy. Who knows? Maybe he could be a potential Mr. Olympia one day. But for me, there's a lot of expectation, because when he turns to the back, if he's not in condition, I think questions are going to need to be asked about, you know, and discussions need to be asked about, okay, what, how good is this guy and how good can he be?
Yeah. And, you know, it's all eyes are going to be on him. As the minute he turns around, everyone's going to be glutes in, or the hamstrings crisp. And if they're not, everyone's going to be like, you suck, Andrew. You know, because fans will turn on you in a moment, in a heartbeat like that. They really will.
I will.
So let's.
No, and like I said, that's why I'm saying, George, don't say anything after a show. If your guys won, take the praise. You know, say nothing, and then have even if your plan is, okay, I'm going to bring him in much sharper for the Arnold UK. Don't say anything. Just make it happen. Show up, you know. But stuff like that, because it sticks in people like mine's minds, you know. So I'm expecting him to be a lot better than Texas, and that for me makes it really exciting.
Well, he better be. So that brings us up to Martin Fitzwater, the Martian, 25 years old, who was 2nd place to Andrew, and who had far superior conditioning. Nathan got on me because I Nathan Dasha on one of those, I think he does Xavier's version of Bro Chat, because I praised Andrew, and then like a few days later I praised Martin, so he called me a dick rider. But I can praise more than one person. Yeah, dick rider.
Hang on. Nathan called you that.
You know, this might be second or third hand. Maybe someone's putting words in his mouth. It doesn't even matter. I'm not mad at him. He's got the colorful language. But the point I'm trying to make is Martin was in awesome condition, but I never had him beating Andrew, just because when they were next to each other, Andrew's structure, the fullness of his muscles, it was just so overwhelming that even the fact that Fitzwater was probably 20-25% sharper, way sharper.
He was.
A way better condition, but it's not a condition contest, as we know. It's a total package. And Martin revealed later that he was training on a partially torn quad, couldn't do anything for legs the last few weeks, and it affected his condition, his fullness and condition, which is crazy to me because I thought he looked fantastic, fuller and much better condition than I'd seen him in his rookie year last year. So I don't know what he's been able to, how he's been able to adjust that or fix that situation, and what can he do? What can Fitzwater do to get past if he got beat by Andrew when Andrew was, we keep using that, you love these percentages, 80%. How does he beat him now? I mean, what especially if Andrew comes in at 89.8% this time, or 91.2, because I love Martin's physique. It's just, I don't know what he can do against someone who's that overwhelming.
Well, there is a big height difference. And I always say it's like Arnold versus Franco type scenario, isn't it? It kind of, if you want to, in terms of heights. But with Martin, I said about the quad, because I saw actually in Hot News in Global, which comes out the day after this, tomorrow. I brought up a selfie that he did in the bathroom. He's like a relaxed selfie, and he's just in his like boxers or whatever, and his legs. and I zoomed in on his legs, and I said, has he improved his legs? But now you say that about the torn quad, that actually makes sense, because his legs do look freakier than they did at the Texas. So I did notice that. It's on record. I filmed it. It's uploading now to MD, so it'll be out on Wednesday. It'll be out tomorrow, so you can you can check up if I've said that.
Yeah.
But like Martin, I think he's rapidly improving, and I think I'm really, it seems to be working what he's done with Branch Warren, because he does look like he's starting to get that density and sort of detail and that graininess. I think that that Branch exhibited for all the years he was a pro, competing successfully, So to be honest, Martin's not in my top two.
Okay.
So I'm interested. I'm actually really interested to see him next to Hollinshead.
Yeah, he did feature prominently in your MD Global Muscle column with the new Muscular Development. I got it in the mail yesterday or 2 days ago with Phil Heath on the cover. I think that's the one you called it. Did you have? I think you had Branch and him side by side. It's a Branch 2.0, and you could see a lot of similarities.
I still haven't got my Jay Cutler one. I'm devastated.
Wow, geez, maybe the postman took it. I don't know. So this next guy, I want this guy Mark Hector to come to the U.S. and do some shows, because he is so good, and I guarantee you, half the American fans have no idea who this guy is, because he needs to get over here the way Theo has, the way both Andreas have. Vlad needs to get his ass over here too, just so that more fans have exposure and get to appreciate this guy. He's phenomenal, but I think he's under the radar. I call him an underdog for this. I could see this guy winning the show based on the pictures I've seen. He's freaking great.
You just completely stole my thunder there, Ron.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Because I kept referring to my top two.
Yeah.
Martin and James not being in the top two. I think the top two is actually going to be Andrew Jacked and Mark Hector, because I can spoil it now, but I've got Mark Hector in Global, which is coming out. Well, like I said, when you're watching this, guys, tomorrow 9:15 a.m. EST. I've got really, really the best interview that Mark Hector's ever actually given me, 1 week out. And if the last time he was on stage is when he took third place behind Regan in second and James Hollinshead at the British Grand Prix in 2020. Oh, wow. He was 240 there. He's 5'10" and 240. He's now 265.
What the hell?
I would probably say it's closer to 260 by the time he dries out and fills out.
20 pounds of lean tissue.
And it's nearly all gone to his legs and his back. Because his lower body was weak, but it's not just his quads that have improved. He's actually built, because with black guys, if they don't have good calves, it's hard for them to build them. But he's really, I said to him, I said in the interview, I said, you've managed to construct these calves that I didn't think were genetically possible for you. I thought it was working against him. Yeah. But he's like his hamstrings, his glutes, his quads, his whole lower body is completely transformed. He's kept the waist exactly the same size. His delts are even more ridiculous, and there's nothing in them. No, they are. They're very I zoomed in on the hot news, and they're really stripy. He's got very stripy shoulders.
Stripy. It's terrible that we even have. It's terrible that we even have to point out that someone doesn't have stuff in their shoulders.
But do you know what it is, Ron? I said to him, I said, that video you posted, I won't say, but I put an expletive on his Instagram. I said, F me. And I put a mind blown emoji, and I don't like swearing that kind of like that. But so anyway, and I said, mate, that the pop to your physique is just gone to next level now. And he said, Giles, that's me completely depleted, flat as a pancake. And then his girlfriend in the background, Kerry, the bikini pro, she said, Giles, she says, I'm telling you, she says he was completely flat in those. She says, you want to see him when he's pumped and full. And it's just, I am so excited I think I'm most excited actually about seeing Mark Hector come back after 2 years, because I honestly believe he's got the goods to win this.
Well, if he does, he won't have to do anything until the Olympia, but I hope he does start competing more, because he's too good to be so unknown, so relatively obscure. There's guys who are nowhere near as physique wise as good as he is, but they're in the public eye. We all know who they are.
He's doing France the week after.
Oh, okay.
Even if he wins the Arnold UK.
Ah, okay.
And I forget the other show he said he was doing Italy. I think he's doing Italy as well.
There's another Italy pro show in Italy too. My goodness, a lot of pro shows.
Tsunami Pro.
All right, let's stay in the UK for our next guy. The world's tallest pro bodybuilder, Jamie Christian-Johal. Yeah, they're still putting. Jamie, we got to talk about this, remember, but so we just saw him. We just saw him in Yamamoto Cup in, it wasn't Milan. It was somewhere completely different. That was, the poster was wrong, but it was Italy. We know it was Italy. Padua.
Padova.
Okay. So I don't think that was the best Jamie, but I think we talked about it. We think he's probably saving himself for this show, putting his 100% condition basket into the Arnold UK. Have you had any looks at him very recently to see if he's sharpened up?
Yes, I have.
How's he looking?
Yeah, no, he because right after the Italy show, he took something like 3 or 4 days off. Because Lauren told me, she said she'd been checking his story. She says he's taking 3 or 4 days off to spend some time with his wife. And I was like, oh no. I said 3 or 4 days. I said, if he's not eating clean and whatever. So anyway, I think on the Thursday it was 3 or 4 days later, he posted a video. And straight away, I looked at his quads, and they looked drier than when he was on stage. And then, of course, because how he looked in Italy, it was the glutes and the hams that were quite kind of behind that he needed to sharpen up. Because I thought he needed to get right home and get right, depleting and zero carbon to really dry out. But for some reason, I don't know how he did it. Having those 3 or 4 days off, everything tightened up, and the glutes and the hams down. He posted a video, I think, Sunday morning, a video, and the glutes and hams, I mean, straight away, he's barely flexing and he's barely tensing, and you can see that they're leaner now. So I think, because I think he was 305 in Italy. So, I mean, like I said, I said to Jamie, I said he could sneeze and lose 5 pounds, but I mean, a guy that size, but I think he's going to be the all-time best version we've ever seen of him, because he is very improved this year. His arms, his shoulders, his back. He's really made some significant improvements since working with Milos in the last year, because Milos has him training twice a week, twice a day, twice a day, 6 times a week. And he really, when I filmed his training sessions back in February, March? Yeah. And I mean, Milos has got him training like an absolute maniac.
Yeah, I mean, he's put on some good size since last year, for sure. Keeping in Europe, I think actually all these competitors in the Open are from Europe. Francis Theo de Guerrero, who I didn't think he was competing anymore this season, because he did a bunch of shows earlier in the season. And I think, was he number 1 or 2 in the points last time we checked?
Number 1.
Oh, he was number 1. So it would take some doing for other people to knock him down to 4th, which would take away his Olympia qualification. But I'm assuming he just wants to make sure he's in this Olympia. Or maybe it's just the fact that this is the Arnold UK and it's a very prestigious show. He would want to do it. But Theo, man, again, I've seen him now. I can finally say I've seen this guy. Very impressed with him. I think we disagreed on his posing. You didn't like it, and I liked it because he danced around.
No, I like his posing.
Oh, you liked it? Okay.
Yeah.
What was the one that was dancing too much? Anyway, no, I liked this. He was very dramatic. But are you surprised Theo is still doing shows at this point when theoretically?
Well, I messaged him because I tried to get him on Global, and he normally, because I've got his number and I WhatsApped him, and he hasn't responded. So either that means he's kind of deep into this prep for this show, and he just obviously not even checking his phone, or he's shutting it down until the Olympia. So I don't know for certain, because that's why I wanted to get him on. I wanted him as one of the front runners, because I think Theo is finally starting. I don't think he's underrated anymore, because I think finally now he's starting to get recognized for how good he is, because he's tested himself so many times. He's done so many shows. He's done Puerto Rico. He's done the New York Pro. I mean, I mean, like you said, he's gotten a ridiculous amount of points because he's done so many shows and he's been so consistent. I mean, I would love to see him do this event. I mean, I just, I'm a huge Theo fan, but I think finally people are starting to get a grip on how good this guy is. So I've not really thought about where he might place, because I didn't know for certain whether he was doing it, but he's someone that you absolutely can underestimate, because he's got it all. He's got size, aesthetics, he's got everything, and he's very consistent with his conditioning as well.
Yeah, and the last guy we'll talk about in the Open, you just pointed him out to me. Never heard of this guy, but I just looked up his Instagram, or actually he was on Patrick Tour's Instagram. It's Patrick Tour client named Alfred Chiriac. I don't know if he's from France. It sounds like a French last name. Here I go with my assumptions again. But man, very complete physique, and I'm surprised I've never heard of this guy. Were you aware of him?
Yeah, I've seen him compete in, I think, the Spain show. I've seen him compete around Europe a couple of times in the last couple of years. But I just, like you said, he popped up on Patrick Tour's Instagram the other day, and I couldn't believe the improvements he'd made. So he wasn't one of the biggest guys on stage, but he had kind of nice shape, nice roundness, and but now he seems to put size on, but he seems to have kept that detail, striations and his conditioning is second to none. So it'd be interesting to see how he fits in the scheme of things in terms of this kind of lineup, because this is a tough lineup. Yeah. So I mean, this is one of those guys like the Christine Wolski guys that like sneak in the top 6 because they just tick every box. I feel like Alfred could be one of those kinds of guys there, but if he does that, then he's going to be skipping over some arguably bigger names.
All right, well, let's move on to classic physique. So the front runner, Neil Curry, he's done because he just got his qualification. So he will not be someone they need to worry about. But this next guy, I've seen him before, Michael Daboul. I can't remember where I saw him. It was earlier, I think it was this year, but condition was just incredible on this guy from what I remember. I remember just like every little fiber. I think I remember he needed some more mass, needed to be a little fuller and rounder, but just shredded out of his mind, this guy, Daboul.
Did you see the video he posted the other day? And I think Patrick Tour reshared it. And I think it was yesterday, actually Sunday. And it blew my mind actually, because like you said, he's very wide, very detailed, but he kind of lacked that kind of density and fullness. But it looks like he's got it now, because even when he's like one of those wide guys, it turns to the side and he's a bit like a ruler, he kind of lacks that density. But it seems like he's got that now. And I tell you what, because he won the Arnold UK last year.
Right, I thought he was a defending champ.
And obviously he did the Olympia and everything, but now he's actually taken his conditioning to another level, and he's put size on. So he's done is bloody impressive, because did he do the Arnold Classic in March, I believe?
Yeah, I think that's where I saw him, because I know it was this year. I couldn't pin it down. It was the Arnold. You're right.
But this guy's competes done Olympias, Arnold's. He's winning pro shows. He's an absolute front runner. And like I said, the video I saw just completely blew my socks off, because I couldn't believe, someone who brings excellent condition to a show, when they say, I'm going to beat that next year, you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm not sure you can, mate. Right. But he's absolutely done that. So I'm really excited to see. And I mean, obviously he wants to repeat the win, and keep his, his best in the UK, at the Arnold UK kind of thing. But it'd be interesting to see if he wins this, goes to the Olympia, and then goes up against Neil Curry, because Neil Curry is our other really good classic guy here in the UK. So that's going to be cool.
So another great guy he's going up against is Peter Molnar. I think they were both at the Arnold, and I should have looked it up. I can't remember who placed higher, but Molnar, very, very good. I think he's one of those guys that doesn't always get the best look. What are you looking for? Are you getting another delivery? What's going on?
My cat's in the road, and I'm worried about her.
Well, why are you cats outside, for one thing?
Get on the roads.
Poor Mayo. Anyway, so Peter Molnar, yeah, he's definitely one of the better classic guys. I think he's just every bit as good as Daboul. The condition's not quite as freaky from what I remember, but very, very complete. Not one of those guys that you're wondering, is he really a bodybuilder? Is he classic? He's 100% classic. But what do you want to say about Peter Molnar?
Well, I saw Molnar competed in Romania last year, and he was really impressive. But I remember we spoke about this, and because he had something going on in his lower body that made his legs and his glutes, it looked like to me like he'd had some sort of hip or quad injury that meant he couldn't. When you sometimes see these guys and they look, and then they say, "Oh, I've had a hip injury, so I've not been able to. All I've been able to do is leg extensions." I'm just completely speculating or guessing from my experience. But it looked to me like last year there was something going on in the lower body that was kind of spoiling the flow of his physique. But I saw a video, so a couple of pictures he posted the other day, and it looks like he's got the kind of the sweep back on the leg. So I'm guessing he's overcome that injury, and he looks really, really good again. But I mean, here's a guy that he was like Crizzo or Dean White, competing in other federations for years, dominating. And then finally they came over and they're really sort of testing themselves now in the Pro League. But I really rate the guy, beautiful poser, great aesthetics. And it's going to be interesting to see if he looks better than he did last year.
Yeah, because now that I remember, his upper body was dominant over the lower body back in March. Because I remember he's got these fantastic arms. He hits a lot of those old school, Arnold type poses, and fantastic. And, kind of like Arnold's legs weren't phenomenal, but that was 1975. But let's move on to this guy, because I have not heard a peep about Wesley Vissers on the competitive side for a very long time. I kind of thought maybe he was giving up competing to just focus on his social media. He's got the vintage clothing brand or something. He's got a clothing line, he's an entrepreneur. And he's very good. I'm glad that he's not done because he's a young guy. He's still in his, is he like 27, something like that,
Something
28.
like that, yeah.
Yeah. So the pictures he's been posting, he looks phenomenal. He's got a very Arnold-like chest, these massive arms. Legs were always a little bit of a knock on him. I can't really tell from the pictures whether they're much improved or not, but he's somebody that I always felt as soon as you saw him turn, you were a judge when he turned pro, weren't you?
No, it was that was the show afterwards, but I saw him when he turned pro at the March 2018, the Royal London Pro or something in London, obviously.
Okay.
And I bumped into him. I saw him on stage, and then I bumped into him backstage, and that's when I couldn't believe how big the classic guys were, because he's 6'2", he's taller than I'm 6'1". He's slightly. I was looking up to him, and I couldn't believe how big and wide he was. And he's only got big. In fact, I remember seeing sat next to you at the 2018 Arnold Classic, and no, 2019 it would have been, because it would have been the year after. And he just looking along the classic lineup. I think Brion was in it, Arash, and then you see Wesley, and he looked like it looked like they'd stuck an open guy just in a classic lineup, or a pro against amateurs. He looked absolutely colossal. And he wasn't actually even in his best condition in that show. So I just thought, my God, what's he going to look like when he pulls it down? So with Wesley, I like the fact he kind of goes quiet every now and again. And then he pops up, and it's usually for a good reason, because it means he's been working, and he stays quiet. And then he's kind of all over social media and everything. And we're all talking about him for weeks, and then he seems to disappear again. So obviously that approach obviously works for him. So with Wesley, like I said, and the thing is, he was criticized for his condition and his legs, but he has improved those areas in the last couple of years quite drastically, I think. So it's going to be interesting how he stacks up against, because he'll look bigger than Molnar and a lot bigger than Michael de Bull. So, but I know what you're hinting at. I think that will be the top three.
Yeah, probably. And the last guy we'll speak about in Classic, from Italy, Christian Zagarella. I've seen him a couple of times. Like a lot of Europeans, condition is his forte. Very good, very pleasing physique. I think he's going to be in the mix. There's a long list of names, and I say this every single preview we do, but it always bears true. There's somebody on that list that I've never heard of, and I'm going to see them on the pay-per-view and go, wow, this guy's great. But right now, I don't know that they're great, but I'll find out. But Christian Zagarella, I know you've seen Christian at least a couple of times.
I only saw him do the Yamamoto, which he won. And I, to be honest, until a few weeks before that, it wasn't really on my radar. And then everyone seemed to be talking about him. And then when he won, I recognized the name, and I was like, oh, that's the guy that everyone seems to be hyping at the moment. So, some of the media outlets, other media outlets, they're sort of saying this guy is like a top 5, top 6 Olympia guy, because the guy he beat in second was the guy with the huge arms. I mean, I watched it on the live stream. I thought he was really good. So obviously Zagarella beat him quite clearly. So he is really, really good, this guy. So, I mean, there's another guy that's going to really be in the mix with those other three.
Right on. So let's move on to our final division we're going to speak about is the 212 division. And my pick for the favorite, once I looked at that list, was he's got to be about 48 or 49 years old now, but he is the original Mr. Olympia. Well, I shouldn't say Mr. The original Olympia 202 champion, David Henry, the giant killer. And he just seems to love going over to the United Kingdom and Ireland to compete, because I know he did the Legion as a Masters, I think last year, but the last Open 212 show I think he did was in Ireland. Were you at that show? Was it the show where, was it this year?
I think when his posing routine was going on, I was being taken off in an ambulance.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I thought it was last year or something. It was this year.
No, it was this year, and he got beat by Rob Taylor. Rob Taylor, the British guy, beat him, but Dave Henry was second. So, because literally as the 212s were coming on stage, I was off out the back, having my little turn.
For those who are like uninformed, Giles had a heart attack 20 minutes into emceeing. What was the name of the show?
It's the Muscle Contest Ireland.
Muscle Contest Ireland in Limerick, Ireland. Limerick is an actual city. I thought it was just like a kind of rhyme, but yeah. So, but David Henry, man, this guy's really holding up. I mean, he's pushing 50. He's got to be almost 50 by now, but still has the crazy bubbly round chest, back, arms. Legs never had the greatest sweep on them, but you could say that about a lot of people. It was certainly good enough to beat pretty much everybody that eventually became a 212 Olympia champion down the line. But looking at the list, if Dave Henry brings his usual package, I don't see anybody beating him.
I mean, well, obviously, I did see him at the pre-judging at that show. It was just the finals that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was. I mean, he's just hanging with muscle. I mean, he wasn't in his best condition there, but I think he thought might be an easy qualification. So, but yeah, fair play from coming all this way, flying all that way to come and do this show. So, I'm guessing he's going to be kind of close to his best, I think. So, because you don't want to come all that way again across the the Atlantic to stuff. Just come second again, So, but surely he doesn't. Why is he doing this show? He doesn't need to qualify, does he?
No, he can go in the Olympic. I'm not sure, because when he was winning it, it wasn't called the Olympia. It was called the 202 Showdown. But that's still the case for Kevin English. The first couple wins he won it, it was still called a Showdown. It didn't get an Olympia title for a few years, but I do believe he's the Olympia champ. I don't think he needs to, but yeah, I'd be interested in speaking with him fairly soon, because I need to catch up with this guy. It's been a long time, but that's my favorite.
Incredible. He's incredible.
He is. He's a legend. I mean, we talk about the Mount Rushmore of 212. If you're going to put 4 people, because you're going to Mount Rushmore, we've gone over this. You know what it is.
I know.
So we got Flex Lewis has got to be up there. I think you have to have Kevin English up there. I think you have to have David Henry, and I think Jose would probably be the next.
Yeah.
I put him.
Yeah.
I think
maybe Eduardo Correa, some sneaking up the side, maybe.
See, he's been he was second a couple times, so I don't know if Eduardo, but Jose did a lot more shows, and I think he's a lot more recognizable. But let's move on to Pasquale D'Angelo from Italy is also doing the show. He was just in the Yamamoto Cup a couple weeks back. Great physique, but this is the guy. I think he just needed some more legs, some more quad sweep is what I'm always after quad sweep. I want everyone to have these crazy big Rami quads, but it's not in the cards for everybody.
Well, hang on a minute. Pasquale was an open he got 6th in the Yamamoto, like 2 weeks ago?
He got 6th as an open.
Yeah, he was 6th in the open in the open in Yamamoto, and I thought he looked absolutely fantastic. I mean, I was kind of thinking, are they going to put him, because they put Roman Fritz in 5th, and I thought because I said on the play-by-play, I said it could be close for 5th place here, between him and Roman.
Yeah. So I want to go to this next guy just because Samir Trudi from United Arab Emirates. I love this guy's physique. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for him to come in peeled and shredded and hard as nails for like 3-4 years more. 4 years. Yeah. Because he's got everything. He's got the round muscle bellies. He's not missing any body parts, the shape, the structure, everything is there. And just like you, I go insane when I keep seeing people who have everything but condition continue to show up without the condition. I'm like, that's all you need. You'd be winning everything. You'd be winning these shows, dude. Trust me. So inshallah, he's in shape this time.
Well, he was 3rd at the 2018 Arnold Classic, the one that that was the first 212 show he ever did. He won it. Charles Dixon was just 1 point behind in 2nd. And then Samir Trudi was 3rd. And I mean, I would have no arguments if Samir Trudi had been 2nd. And since he has never once got his condition even close to that.
Yeah.
And this is a guy, like you said, I mean, his legs are incredible. His calves are incredible. His quads, he's just got it all. And honestly, I'm almost done with this guy because he needs to turn up in condition. What is wrong with these people? Why can't they diet? Why can't they just bring it down? And I sound like a broken record because I've seen him in 212 shows. I mean, albeit good lineups, but this guy shouldn't be getting 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th. No. I mean, he's traveling all that way over and he's getting 10th place. And it's just, and there's one show, I mean, his stomach was hanging out. He looks like he's not even dieted. I mean, I'm like, what are you doing? You've got it all. You've literally, when I competed, I was shredded, but I just didn't have the mass. Do you know what I mean? Because I thought, well, I don't have the mass, so I'll have to be shredded or I'm going to make a complete idiot of myself. Yeah. So this guy, I know I keep harping on about it and I sound like a broken record, but he's got the physique. So please get your ass in condition, because if he does, then Dave Henry, Pasquale, they're all in trouble.
Yeah. See, I think I just figured out why we're both such a-holes about conditioning is because we competed and we were never the biggest guys. We never had the best. We didn't have the genetics of these guys. So we made damn sure we came in shredded because we knew that's the only thing we could beat people on. So Samir, please, bro, please. If it's not this show, you got to come in that show shredded because you're a phenomenal bodybuilder. You should be winning these things.
Easy.
Last but not least, I didn't write down the country, but you know where he's from. Radoslav Angelov. I'm going to say like Bulgaria or
Yeah.
Bulgaria.
Mhm.
Okay. Also very, very good. And someone he should be getting over here doing some shows too. You know, they're hiding. It's not that they're hiding. I know it's not easy to get over here. It's expensive and you got visas and all that to sort out, but Radoslav, very, very good physique that again, I bet you a lot of American fans, no idea who he is. Oh, you know.
Radoslav's absolutely awesome. I remember when he turned pro at the 2018 show over here in UK. That was in June 2018, and he was a middleweight. He won the overall, and he won it clearly. And because he only like he was only like the 170s, 180s, but he was like a Clarida. Do you know what I mean? He just had everything. Everything was there. But I tell you what, he did need. He needed more legs, and especially needed calves and hamstrings. And then in the last year or two, he's really seemed to have brought those areas up. And I think he's closer to maybe 190 now. So he's still really under the limit. But he's like Clarida. You think, how could that guy be so far under the 212 limit when they've got that much muscle? I mean, his back is absolutely, it's one of the best backs in the Pro League right now. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. And when he's very on and off with his condition. He's either in really fantastic condition or he kind of comes in he wants to come in nice and full, which he did, I think, in one of I think it was Prague. He came in really big and full, but he actually did really well looking like that. It was actually it wasn't a sharper look, but he came in so round and full. They kind of, I think I gave him second place there. But Radoslav is really, really good. And I've had him on Global before. Yeah. And so like I said, I hope he's keeping size coming onto the legs because he's, because he could put as much size as he wants on. He's still probably not even going to come close to the 212 limit. But he's, like I said, when you see him, he is one of the thickest guys up there. So he creates like a real illusion. His arms, his back, his chest, his shoulders. I mean, he's incredible. But I just hope he's continuing to fill that lower body out because he's a really, really good 212. And I mean, he's had some good placings as well.
Right on. Well, that wraps it up, guys. We're going to be doing coverage on Sunday right here on this channel. Giles, you're going to be helping me out again, right, Giles? I mean, it's you. I couldn't do the Arnold UK coverage without you. It'd be miserable. So we'll be doing that. I think we'll do a wrap up of the judging and the finals since there should be a break. So please tune in for that. Also, I'm not sure when this will post, Giles. This might post after Global. So either watch Global Muscle tomorrow or it was on yesterday. Go back and watch it. It's on the same channel. We got so many great new shows. We got Brazilian Beat that, you produce with Miguel Chain, the Brazilian bodybuilding, fitness, figure, wellness. That whole scene is covered perfectly by Miguel. And what's another? This Monday, as we're talking right now, I did have a Chris Bumstead interview. I only get one every few years, guys. So if you haven't watched that, please come. He's got 15 million followers, for God's sake. So please go back and watch that. And this MD Global Muscle, if it's either on tomorrow, depending on when this airs, or yesterday, go check that out. You had, who were the guests for this one? Patrick Johnson and
Mark Hector.
Who might be the Arnold UK champion come this Sunday in Birmingham. We'll see. So that's it. Giles, thank you so much. Get back to watching the Queen's funeral. I'm sure it's still going on. And enjoy your new King Charles III, right?
Yeah. I think he's going to do a great job. I love the guy. I think he's awesome. I think he's got a really big heart, and he's. I think he'll do a great job. Thing is, imagine being prepared for something your entire life, and then finally in your 70s you get it. I mean, talk about keeping the guy waiting, But
seriously, I was like, geez, how long is this guy gonna have to? I remember when he was like in his 50s. I'm like, he's never gonna get to be king. Never. This woman's gonna live. The Queen, God bless her. She's gonna live forever. And she was 96.
Yeah, 96. Yeah, incredible. 70 years on the throne.
They must have incredible health care, the royals.
I could do close to that on the throne, but that's different.
I'm on the throne about 5-6 times a day, but it's quick.
What?
It's quick. Oh yeah. Because I eat 6 times a day. So
oh my God.
It's got to come out too,
Oh, terribly un-British talking about
potty humor. Sorry about that, Jen. Jen doesn't like the potty humor. Sorry, Jen. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, notification bell, very important. It tells you when we have new videos out. Turn that thing on. Like the video, share the video. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, what are you waiting for? It doesn't cost you anything. Just hit subscribe. We appreciate it so much. And thanks for watching Muscular Development's preview of the Arnold Classic UK. We'll see you next time.